Hey, what's up, Mohammed? How you doing? Sorry, I'm just sending the link out real quick. 1 second. How are you doing, though? How are you doing? One more place to post this, and then I should be fine. Charting. There we go. Post. Good. How's your weekend? Honestly, pretty fucking awesome. Pretty fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of good luck this weekend. A lot of entertainment. A lot of fun. Pretty good weekend. Relieving weekend, I would say. Pretty good start to the Thanksgiving weekend. Yo, what's up, Andrew? How you doing? And guys, let me know how the music is. What's up, Sinful? Just let me know if it's like quiet enough. It doesn't need to be too loud. But I changed my volume settings, so I don't know if it's the same or not. Also, let me know if you can hear me well. I might need to move my mic forward. Sorry for all that squeaky noise. Gucci, what's up, Gorov? How you doing, GG? When the parlays hit, I mean, not even just that though. I had a lot of other things happen too. It wasn't even just that. Music's good. All right, great. I'm fucking hyped to be here. I know my voice might not sound like it, but I'm honestly very happy to be here. So today, my main concern with the beginning of this stream, at least with the majority of this stream, is I want to do the TA routine on SPY, QQQ, and IWM, and then I want to do the bigger time frame charting for all three. And I even deleted all my charts, and I got them all like recategorized and retitled for everybody. As you can see here, default, larger time frame, both are cleared. Same for QQQ, same for IWM. So they're all the same. So we're gonna start fresh. We're gonna start new. Because I had a lot of people asking me some pretty basic questions over the past 2 weeks, and that's totally fine. I have nothing wrong with that. It's just, if I'm going to go over them, I don't want to, answer them right then and there. I want to tackle those questions when we actually get to them. But I'm happy to help anybody who's fresh. I'm happy to help anybody who's in here and who already knows everything I'm about to say. That's totally cool as well. And there's going to be people who are in here and have no idea what's going on, and that's totally fine. But for just any reference points, I would just watch workshop number 11 on my channel. It's like the second or third most watched video. So definitely go check that out. It's just a one-stop shop for everything here. There's no ads in it, so you can just watch it straight through. I don't know why that's so popular to do now. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go through the SPY, QQQ, and IWM charts. We'll do the TA routine first on all three, and then we'll go back through and we'll do the bigger time frame charting on all three. Therefore, we kind of stay on the same page. Sometimes I always go back and forth, but I think for this stream's sake, I'm gonna just try to keep it in order. And feel free to ask questions as I go along the way, particularly about what we're looking at. Maybe don't ask me questions about things we're not looking at, but yeah, if it's anything regarding what we're going over, I'd be glad to go over it. So just let me know. What's up, Maddie? Good to see you. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into it, so if anyone is watching this recording, it's not too hard to go back and just kind of skip through. But I'm going to just start with SPY, then we'll go to QQQ, then IWM. So let's start now. And honestly, it's kind of funny with the TA routine. A lot of people are finding this kind of awkward, and it's totally fine. But you're going to feel awkward about the TA routine right now because there's not really much to add, right? Once you get some of your shoulders over here marked off with your emerging candles, you really just have some all-time high charting to do. And we'll get to that as well, both on smaller and bigger time frame charting, so don't worry about that. But I've honestly been starting from this like way back shoulder over here because it's the only shoulder I've seen where we've actually held support. This one has one, but it's the most recent one, so I don't think it's fair to only chart down to 584. Plus, it's just good practice, and I'm not going to have to come back here for a little while. If I only charted from here, I'd probably be back here within a week or two, you know, refixing things and getting the levels back on the screen. So very important. And you can see an emerging candle again. We're just grabbing the close of each new high green candle. We didn't really get a new high here, so this isn't really a great candle to get to mark. But I like to mark it because it isn't. It is lower than the high of this candle, but it's not lower than the open or close. So I still see a good meat of the part of this candle, and that's why I'm marking it, as I pretty much always have. And then there's of course some middle grounds we can grab, which let's finish these first. And then I like to grab the all-time high and extend it to the left and make it a dotted line, because I like to remind myself that this is the all-time high and it's a little bit different than the rest of these. And I guess we don't have to grab halfway points here, but for example's sake, let's go ahead and do it. Which again, guys, when you see me grabbing these, this is really all it is. So let's say you have a really important level right here and a really important level right here, and let's say this is like $15 away. It's not realistic for you to maybe hold a trade to that, and that's totally fine. Something that's really cool and helpful. Why is my charting do that? Let's just start that over. Is going from one level, again, a level that you have actually consistently had. You're not just randomly adding this. I wouldn't randomly do this. Why is it doing that? What is going on? Oh, it's doing the bug. I got it now. Hold up. I don't know why it does this. Holy, there we go. Y'all can see the amazing pain I'm going through for that. And getting back to my point is this area here marked off can be helpful. But the main level, exact level to the cent that I'm looking at is that 50% level, because if you delete this, this is just a good in-between level. So if you're ever in a play and you have a target, or let's say maybe you're in a play and it's pulling back down and you're shorting it to this level, instead of looking for that super far target that's unrealistic, you have a very reliable, consistent target that even if I delete this fib, even if I delete that middle level, I could still get consistently, right? I could clear the whole chart, get these same two levels again, and then mark that same 50%. So it's something I can get consistently. Let's just delete that. So you're going to see me mark a couple of those real quick. Dude, this is getting insane. They need to fix this. They did say there were some maintenance issues today, but holy, that's bad. I mean, look, every time you see me click this, it's not actually clicking that tool. That's crazy. Okay. So we got that one. We could get one here. Let me just keep clicking it down here, because for some reason that's consistently working. We'll get one here, and they don't have to be exactly on the cent, but you can get it down to the exact cent every single time if you want to. For example's sake, though, I'm honestly just trying to get through this chart. It doesn't need to be perfect. And we'll get that. Yo, what's up, J Patron Music? Good to see you. I feel like I was doing like an introduction to somebody there. Welcome. Oh my god, I'm not getting used to this. It's bugging out. Maybe they'll fix this taskbar. Maybe that's what they're messing with right now. I don't have no idea. Let's grab here to here. And this can be a little tedious, but this is why I like these because like once I have them, I don't have to go and get them again. They're done. I don't have to do any of this again. We're just doing it again because it's good to go over stuff. It's good to get those reps. And I think that's all we're gonna draw. I'm not going to draw from the all-time high to that because that's not really a consistent level, just because it's the all-time high. It's a pivot point. So now we can go down to the 5-day 5-minute, and I like to do this just to kind of get like context. You don't really have to do this next part, but I'd say the end of this everyone needs to do. But I really like to start a few days back. So if that means you need to add a couple days and then go back a couple days, great. If you just want to kind of look at the past 5 days, that's great. I honestly just do the last 5. If we're in like a really big range, and I can't really see where the lows or highs came from around current price, you know, from recently, then I'll go back really far and just add that, or, you know, whatever was last. But like in this example here, I'm going to go rough on this, guys, so it's not going to be perfect, but let's say this was the supply of that day, just high to the open of that last green candle, and I know you can't see it, I can't really see it either, and let's say that was the demand. This day made a new low, right? Okay, well then we delete that demand. Okay, let's go from that low to the whatever it was, right? This day made a new high. Okay, well that now deletes that supply, so now we're going to add this one. Whatever the high to open of the green candle is, whatever low to the top of the last red candle, or notable level. Sometimes, like in this example probably, like this would be the natural way to draw your demand from the low of the move to the top of the last red candle before it really started working itself back up. But in this example, you probably could just go from the low to the open there, and then just worry about whatever is held here, because that's a notable strong level. We literally use today's current day open to dictate direction, so very helpful there. But back to what I was saying though. So let's say you have that drawn out. And then you can see like this day, they didn't make a new high or a new low. So what do we do with these zones? We leave them, right? We extend them over to this day, right? Oh, they didn't break this. Okay, awesome. We extended a couple days. They broke this the next day right here. And so the next one would be about here, right? And then so on and 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 so on until you have, you know, just a filled up screen of just like this, but it's all spaced out for the most part. And it just helps you highlight not just one level, because I think, and this is just, again, kind of like progression of our own system, we're able to fine tune things a lot more. And this is why for the last year and a half, I've been using these a lot more accurately. But instead of just marking previous day high, now you're marking like kind of really the previous day high zone, where not just where the high was made, but where they really gave up. So you can use this whole area to help you find either lower highs or breakdowns, or maybe retakes. Maybe they're working over it and they're launching off of it like a rocket pad. Who knows? They're going Rocket Man. And so that's how you really should be drawing your zones, and not also just drawing your supply and demand short term, but just getting context. I feel like just anybody with any kind of strategy, if they just use context on what we've been doing recently, it might help them make better decisions moving forward. I'm not saying they're going to be, you know, the luckiest person, or they're just going to start making the best decisions ever. They're still going to make mistakes. Everyone will. We're human. But it leads you to better probability decisions, because you're not sitting here going like, oh, well, we made a new high of day. What the hell does that mean? Like, what did you even just tell yourself? We made a new high of day. That's really not that much to bite off of. You're really just telling yourself something. That's not much, right? But what happens if you have context and you're like, well, over the last few days we've had higher lows and now we're making a new high of day. Well, now you have some more conviction to go off of. Now there's something more to bite off there. You know what I mean? So it's not just one thing. I love your system, bro. 4 years later and still very effective. I love that, man. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to hear when I have people like you come in, they're like, man, I've been using this for years, because like it really doesn't ever get old, and it really hasn't gotten any worse or any better. It's just the same system. You know, it's just as effective as it was when we first looked at it. They're just, again, reliable levels. They're levels that the market is going to have to use. It's levels of price history. Like, think about this from a logical standpoint. I've talked about this before, and I won't get too tinfoil hat on this, but think about the computers and the programs that are made to run all of this that we see, right? The quotes. Don't you think that a computer has old price history installed into it to understand, like, hey, let's see how we react to this? So when we add these levels of price history, don't you think that they're going to have some effectiveness just off of that alone? That's just naturally going to happen. So yeah, that's why I like them the most too, because you're adding long-term price history, and then you're mixing in like our previous day high, previous day low. You're mixing in short-term price history, so you're getting a lot there, and that's really cool. But let's go ahead and add our previous day high supply. So it's going to be from here, and I'm actually going to extend this over to here since it was, oh, but they did make a new high a little bit. Oh, that's right, we made it by 1 cent. So I'm actually going to cheat. We're going to do this. We're going to go from the high of the day, so it's that top of that wick. And where did we drop down? We fell down about right here, right? Yeah, on that last dip. So where was the last green candle before that dipped? About here, yeah. I was just double checking. And I'm adding probably too many days, but that's fine. And then using our context, what was this supply? It was here, then they broke it. And we could probably leave this demand like we were talking earlier. I know we drew this as an example, but now here I am actually needing it. So let's add this. And I know it doesn't matter now. Some of you are probably like, what the hell? We're way up here. Yeah, it doesn't matter now, but in the future it will, because we didn't break it here. Could probably add another one here. What the hell's going on with my cursor? Oh, here it is. And if you're seeing me do this on the 5-minute, it's because I look at the 5-minute when I chart, and then I jump down to the 1 or the 2-minute when I actually trade, if I'm scalping. So doing this on the 5 is just my consistency, you know. So if you're someone who looks at you actively chart on, let's say, whatever time frame, you know, the 15-minute, then you need to be drawing them on the 15-minute. If you're stuck on the 1-minute all the time, you chart and you trade to the 1-minute, you need to be drawing it on the 1-minute then. And don't switch that up. Don't 1 week do this, 1 week try that. Unless you're testing stuff out, that's cool. But I really am serious about consistency in your methods. Like, don't switch shit up, because then you're gonna try to get used to something, and you're gonna think something's right. You're gonna try to go off of it, and it's not gonna be right. So for our day trading levels for TA routine on the daily time frame, this is it for SPY. We even went a little bit extra and added the previous day high supply, previous low demand, and for the past few days, just to kind of give context. When you guys see me skip this step on certain charts, you won't be like, oh, what is he doing? No, you actually understand why we're doing that. So using context, just kind of showing you that there are fine tunings to the system if you want. But yeah. And normally I would mark previous day open, previous day close as well, but those are really not that important where they are right now. I guess actually you could mark previous day close, because going into Monday, you won't just be looking for a break of previous day high supply. You're also going to possibly need this break of previous day close in this TA routine level. Whatever retest comes to, of course, it's not going to be that perfect. And if not, we're holding gains over this. There's a very good chance we're going up at the beginning of this upcoming week. So that'll be interesting, with Thanksgiving on Thursday. But yeah, that's SPY for the TA routine. And for future targets, just so I can give myself some... What's going on here? It's doing it again. Hold up. There we go. I'd probably do this on the daily, because I really don't like to do these on the weekly when I do my TA routine levels, but maybe we'll add both. Why not? It doesn't hurt anything. So here's like your daily backwards fib for future targets above levels that we haven't seen yet. And then here's the backwards fib on the weekly. Oh my god, dude, I'm not getting used to this. It's damn maintenance. So we're going to go from the low to the high. We call it a backwards fib for a reason. That's a little... Oh wait, that would make sense that those line up. I'm stupid. I meant to do this one. Yeah, because we didn't reach... I remembered we didn't reach this further target yet, but we did hit that first one from this dip. So I'm just going to add that one again. And then I think that's it. I was going to add 600, but I just remembered that's literally the all-time high, so we don't need to add that. Because, you know, 600 psychological level makes sense. Yeah, see? Now you got some cool forward targets that aren't just, like, completely made up. And if I deleted everything and I went back there, I could get the same exact levels to the exact same cent. Well, close to the exact same cent. Depending if I actually drew it correctly. But, yeah, but that's it. So, now we have something above our head to look over, not just all-time high, but also a couple other levels. I also like to keep in mind, like, if we're going above a 604.40, I try to tell people, like, hey, 604.40 to 605, like, that's probably a good area to think about if we are even in that, you know, situation. And like this, like 608.35, if I see us pushing this, I'm like, guys, be careful with 610. You know, I sometimes like to add that, like, psychological level as, like, a secondary confirmation or secondary kind of, like, help. So I'm not just trying to TP or enter or exit off of just one, you know, one exact level, you know. So sometimes you can also keep that in mind, like, how close is it to the next psychological level? And then just understand that might be a whole area, for all we know. But yeah, very cool. But let's jump into QQQ now for TA routine, and then we'll do IWM, and then we'll swoop back around the list and do the bigger time frame charting for all three. But guys, give me a thumbs up or a emoji or emote or something in the chat to let me know you're still here. Let me know, how was that SPY chart though? Did that click well? Did everybody understand mostly everything? Totally fine if not. If you're just trying to catch up and learn, it's very welcomed here. Oh, thank you, Andrew, for answering that guy. I didn't even notice till just now. Yeah, I don't really have like a time duration when I do these. I just kind of like start the stream and then I stop off the vibes. Like, are we done? Do I feel like we're done? Because today my main goal is just going over these three. But if somebody wants to cover some shit after this, that's fine. So that's why I don't like to sit here and be like, yeah, we're only gonna be live for an hour. Like, I don't know. I could be live for 3 hours for all I know. When I do these and I'm telling people they'll be recorded, though, I try not to do them too long because I know it's very hard to rewatch. I know personally, I'm not even judging other people. I know me personally, I would not watch this shit back if it was a 3-hour stream and half of it was me just sitting here talking to you guys. So that's why I try to stay on topic and actually move along. But yeah, compared to like when I'm streaming during the week when I don't really care about the replayability as much. Like, no duh, it's a few hour stream. We're watching the stock market open and close, you know? So it's gonna be long naturally. But let's get into the charting. I'll quit yapping. Let's get that one. We'll start over here, because why not? Oh, come on, man. It is on. Why isn't it doing it then? There we go. I think they're bugging a little bit. When I logged in earlier, they said there was some maintenance going on, so I could be experiencing problems. And I was like, oh, that's great. Love that. Haha. Love the maintenance. All right, so all-time high, we're going to do a dotted line. We're going to extend it because I don't know why I have a tick with that. When I go to the smaller time frames, I hate looking at that stuff. Also, one more thing to note on SPY that I'm sorry that I didn't really note. It's because we're already over the gap, so I just didn't care. But you can see how we're already over the gap on SPY. On QQQ, we're not necessarily over that. So you'll see me add something that I didn't. Oh my god. You'll see me add something that I didn't add onto the QQQ chart that was not on the SPY chart, and that's because we're already past it. So just more focused on the other info. But yeah, so these will be 2 extra levels that we're going to be adding on this chart that's not on the other one. If you want to add them anyway, just to see if we hold above them, that's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm going to get a couple midpoints now, even though this is really fun to do with this part of the chart. And it is best go to candle, by the way. Level to level, your level can be off a little bit sometimes, but I'm trying my best to keep it a little accurate. Oh my god. Maybe it's this thing that's messed up. Maybe I just need to edit this. Oh no. Oh, it's still there. Hold up. Let's like mess with it a little bit. Nope, it's bugged. Never mind. I thought I fixed it. How foolish of me. So let's zoom in again so this isn't as intoxicating to look at. So we got that halfway point, we got that halfway point, we got that one. Let's do one more. Oh my god. So we're going to go from here to here. And yeah. And this is just a fancy way to get the 50%. I always say the same explanation, but I have to say that because, like, I think some people see these levels and they get a little bit confused, but it's like, there's really nothing that fancy here. If you really think about what I'm doing here, there's really nothing that fancy going on. And then let's draw the daily and the weekly backwards fib, so I don't have to do it later. So a lot of people probably draw it wrong, probably draw this one, but we haven't really had a real pullback yet. So I'm going to go from this one. Mark 526 and 536. I'm not saying we're hitting those anytime soon, but if we make new all-time highs, I want to know where the hell we're going. Besides just saying 520, guys, we're going to 520. Anybody can say that. That's easy. And then like we did on the SPY chart, I want to... Jesus, I'm never going to get used to this. Is the low to the high of that last pullback. And you can see there actually is a level pretty close to 520, so I could probably just delete 520 and add whatever that is. You can see we already pushed through one, so that's kind of cool. A little insane to look at, but here we go. Where's my time axis on? 318, that's crazy. All right, so same thing we did on SPY. I'm not going to do it as long on this one so I don't bore anybody out. But again, you should go back a few days, just kind of get context. Where were your highs of this day? Where were your lows of this day? Did they make new lows? No. Keep it. Did they make new highs? Yes. Okay, well, we got to delete it. We got to make a new one. We got this one. Make new highs? No. They make new lows? No. Okay, we'll extend this over. Bam. Which, they did make a new low, but they held it. So, might as well just keep it. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you want to be perfect, though, you can. You could be as ADHD as you want to with this system. You could be as OCD with every little bit. So, if you are a freak, this is the system for you. And then we're going to go from the high to the open. I'm actually going to do a little different on this one. What am I doing? There we go. They held that, and wow, we can actually finish this chart up pretty quick. This one I might do on the 1 minute, because this is going to be huge, isn't it? Yep. I remembered when we spiked up that day, because this, I think, on SPY, I scalped something, but I remember a lot of people in chat were scalping, like, hammers and stuff, because once we hit that level, it was pretty obvious, okay, we're not following anymore. And then once we hit these highs and we saw that lower highs, like, okay, this day's going to suck. We're just going to sit in between range, I think. I think most people in my chat had that vibe. Which it's totally fine to have that feeling. It just sucks because, like, you know, opportunity is not as open today or in that day. But at least you're aware of that. You know, there's people out there who just think every day is, like, the most energetic day ever to trade, and then they overtrade. You know, wouldn't you rather have that like, caution inside of you that's, like, screaming out at you, like, hey, idiot, don't trade as much today. So we're going to go low to high of last red candle before reversal. Which I don't like to go down to the 1 minute and draw those too much because I am a 5 minute guy. But when I see a candle that big, I'm not drawing a zone that fills up my screen. And if I do see one that fills up my screen, I don't draw it. I just honestly focus on the levels. So I see the open, I see the low. That's all I need. Instead of giving myself this fat ass visual that is confusing as hell to look at. So it's really however you want to play it. But that's how it should look. And that's it. I think we got everything we needed. Triple Qs are, we could add halfway points, all we need, all the way up. And we're not even at all-time high yet. So yeah, triple Qs are done. At least for the smaller time frame aspect. But again, kind of the same story with SPY. You can see SPY is already kind of above this little area on their chart. If you remember us being on that one, they're already above that area that they're, you know, trying to get above. They're already above it and trying to hold. So Monday, we're just looking to see if we can hold previous day close, previous day highs on SPY. You go to triple Q, and it's pretty much the exact same story. Because even if we gave, let's not just do one thing, you know, let's not just say, well, if we hold this, we're going up, right? No, well, what if we don't hold previous day highs? What if we don't hold these highs right here? What's next? Previous day close. So it's the exact same story. It's just a little bit, you know, a little bit different positioning on both of those, but almost the same. So heavily focused on previous day control, weird saying control twice. You know, control going into Monday and really just all of next week and the week after that. Are we holding this? Are we holding this barrier that both SPY and triple Q have? If we do pull back, how are we going to do in terms of holding inside of the gap? Are we going to break new lows and head out? What the hell? And head outside of the gaps, or what are we doing? So that'll be different once we get there. Yeah, liquidity so we can continue up. Exactly. We could just be a dip and then next thing you know it rips. And which is very common, by the way. You know, everyone always asks, like, why do we call them 90% entries? Why do I call them that? Liquidity grabs are 90% because you should have 90% confidence when you see one. It's 90% probability that it does go the direction you're looking at, because guess what? If it just goes up and everybody sees that, it's very hard for price to go up and everybody profit. Why is that? Because we're all betting on the same side because it's so obvious, right? So why does the first high always fake? Why do we call it that 40% entry? Why do we call that first open? Because it's not that high probability that it's going to keep continuing, right? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it does just rip. That's great. That's why we give it 40%, less than 50%. It's not a 50-50. I would say it's a little bit worse, right? But yeah, sometimes when you get that first new break, it's too obvious. They pull it back. They hold another good level that you and me might be looking at, but not everyone's looking at, right? Like previous day close or this 505.50s area. Not everyone's looking at that. You got to remember. You know, everyone sees new highs and new lows, but not everyone's watching the same exact levels you and me are watching. And then guess what? Liquidity grab. It now becomes fuel for that upside direction. And this happens to the downside as well. We're just covering it for this, scenario. But after that, let's jump over to IWM though. Let's get this going. How is everyone in the stream so far though? Let me know how everyone's doing. Maybe Maddie, maybe. I don't want to do too long of a stream, and this is hard to replay. I wanted to be able to go through the main parts of the market, but I can post some bigger time frame charts during the day if you want. I'm gonna get a little busy here in a little bit, but I'll be able to post some charts later on tonight if you want. I'll put them in post charts. I'll try not to be fancy or put them anywhere else. I'll just put them in post charts if you want, Maddie. Okay, but I'll be doing that naturally anyway. Honestly, like it's kind of like a tick for me to always like at nighttime check out the charts for, do I see anything warming up or can I note anything? It's just a fun little routine to go through. I do that every night, even when I'm tired. I could be like, oh, I don't feel like playing games or I don't feel like watching anything, but I'll still pull up a chart and still try to find something because it's just like it's not energy inducing. Once you have like a routine and a system, like it really doesn't take it out of you to go look at stuff. Once you know what you're looking for. Yeah, to be honest, I gotta head out here anyway, but also put a few. Oh, okay, thank you, man. Yeah, put a few in there. Got a few I'm liking. And yeah, just to give you a quick note of the ones we did mention last week, going into this week, because I want to keep that going. Me and Noxta brought up Cat, Home Depot, Ulta, Adobe, Avgo, which Andrew was part of this list as well. Annette, Noxta said Ulta as well. Pins, Meta. Yeah, we were both pretty happy about Ulta. But there's a lot of good tickers though. Andrew posted some, I posted some, Nox posted some. I'm sure other people in chat did, I just can't remember them all. There's just so many good charts right now. Even with all these new highs being made and stuff, it's really awesome. A lot of good emerging setups. But yeah, let's keep going though. Let's get IWM finished. So we'll do TA routine on this, and then we'll go back through all three for the bigger time frame charting. Which I want to start at this shoulder, but that's like really close, so I'm just gonna back up a little bit, make sure. Okay, so we'll do that one just so we start a little bit lower. Whoa. I am gonna mark that, fuck it. And honestly, just for example's sake, because I want to know, what does this look like? I'm just curious. Okay, it was where the hammer was. So we don't even have to draw that. Okay, cool. Well, that makes it easy. What's not making it easy is think or swim. Alright, we got that. Let's add the halfway point, just because I don't like how big that range is. That one's fine. There's some nice golden cross setups forming. Ooh. Any big names that you see? Because I feel like that's another quality of life too, is like if you find a good setup, but it's also like, is it on a good name? Because if you can get both of those, you say yes to both of those questions, you should have tenfold more confidence than you had, a few moments ago. In my opinion, at least, I feel like when I know I'm trading a good name, I'm not as like freaky about it. I'm not as shaky on it. And guys, I don't recommend doing this too much. You'll probably only see me do this on a few charts like Tesla, but adding a halfway point of a halfway point is pretty crazy. Just here, say it out loud, a halfway point of a halfway point. It's pretty crazy, but I don't like how wide this range is, and I don't want to add any inconsistent levels. And I don't feel like going down to the 5 minute to add everything, because that's honestly how you could get all this accurately. And hold up, I need one more. Oh, wait. I forgot I can't just do what I want. Wait, we're leaving that. Hold up. We're gonna go. Oh my god, come on. No. No. I really want to keep that gap marked. That could be insanely useful. Okay, well that didn't help me at all. 20 days. Yeah, so they gapped up. Broke under it. Didn't even see it the rest of that day. which I bet that's 50% of that low. And then this day made a high, and this is kind of exact. This is literally to the T what I just finished talking about when I saw who was that? NorCal Albert, whoever that is. When he mentioned liquidity grabs, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you see how we get that high? It's not over pre-market high, but it's over probably. Wait, is it over previous? No, it's not. Either way, though, getting that higher open and that new high, like, it really tricks a lot of people. You get that first dump, and people are like, you know what? We got that hammer. We're definitely making a new high. And the fact that it didn't, and then it made a lower high, gives it energy to make this kind of move. Like, you can't do this without this, is what I'm trying to say. So you got to be able to look out for those. And if you do end up doing this, then, you know, without any kind of confirmations, then that's fine. You know, there's nothing to complain about. We're not a computer. I can't see the future. I'm not Marty McFly. You know, I can't just go to the past or go to the future and figure out what's up and then do what I want, which would be so cool. But we don't have that power. And let's get some of our context. So, oops, go back to the 5-day 5-minute. We could see we had a little bit of a resistance here. I'm starting here. High, a little bit of a low. They made a new low, and they made a new high end of day. So we're focused on this day now. New high. I'm just lazily marking this, by the way, guys. It's not going to be perfect. I'm just trying to get a good rhythm. This day's low. They didn't make a new low. They made a new high. Okay, so now it's this day. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. Got that. New day high. They held it. Alright, so now we're on this day. Which, actually, I am going to delete this. I don't care about that now. That's the zone. Got that. And then that's it. We got close. Oh, I guess we could mark the close like we did on SPY and QQQ. That's it, though. Maybe extend this over a little bit, make it a little prettier. That's it, though. Well, also on all three of these charts, I didn't mention it one time, but there is one more excess level you can grab. You really don't need it on these three yet, I think is the main reason. I didn't really think about it until this chart, because this chart might actually need it. But something, a cool natural level you can grab every single day. If you go from the low to, what the hell? Okay. Thinkorswim, you need to quit messing with me, man. This is crazy. From the low to the high of a day, which actually we don't need it. The level's pretty much marked, so never mind. You don't need it. But it's just good to mark the halfway point of a day. We sometimes call this the previous day control point going into that next day. So going into Monday, we'd call this, right here, the previous day control point. And it's just kind of cool to look at because sometimes it's a very strong pivot point. Sometimes it's like the open. I would say it's the only level that I have back tested this much that actually reminds me of current day open. You know, you guys know how we use current day open to dictate direction a lot of the time, right? For order of operations. It's almost the same thing with the 50% control previous day control point. You're almost looking at a level that dictates direction, which I really wouldn't say that about many levels. You know, it takes so much price action and structure to change higher lows and lower highs in certain scenarios, but yeah, pretty cool though. It depends, Mel, what you're going for. And yeah, same thing to your second question. It just really depends what you're going for. Everybody has different styles. Some people buy a lot of time and hold for a while. Some people, like me, buy a very short amount of time. They don't buy as costly contracts, and they just go for an overnight swing or for a couple days. You know, so it really depends on. It really depends on like what you're going for and what you're looking at. What's the situation? You know, is really it. But we're not here to talk about that right now, man. We're here to talk about the sectors. We're charting them up right now. All right, so now let's go to the daily time frame. Let's get the yes, that is ATH. So we're gonna go from here to here. Yeah, these are gonna be far. Oh, come on. And then weekly. Wait a minute. I drew that wrong. I forgot IWM's not at all-time high yet. They're just under it. Which that might not even be. Yeah, it is. Daily. Oh, wait. Weekly. And just double checking that I drew that right. No. Holy. No. Here. Okay, those are drawn right. I'm going to do the latest one. Which, no, I don't have to. We already went through all those. Okay, cool. So IWM just had a great week, really. Great couple of weeks, I should say. Last 3 weeks have been bullish, bullish reset, bullish. So good for IWM. And that's pretty much all the levels we're going to need moving forward. So we have all those done. Yeah, midpoints, very helpful. Let's go to SPY now. So, are we all good? Everybody in the stream, we're all good on the smaller time frame aspect of charting. We just did SPY, QQQ, IWM, just so we all have the same exact levels, same, same reasonings. Everyone's good. Nobody has questions. I don't want to move on to this next part and then have to skip somebody's question because I'm trying to focus. Somebody's got a question on any of, anything we've covered up to this point, let me know. All good? Okay, let's keep going then. So now we can go to our larger time frame chart. Before we can do that, we can just switch them all to that. Bam. All right, so I like to start out on the just for a quick breakdown on why I do this, because I don't know if I ever have said this or not. I probably have in the past, but not in a while. But when I do the smaller time frame charting, I'm pretty much doing the exact same thing that I'm about to do on the bigger time frame aspect. Like I'm doing the exact same method, it's just on different time frames. So when I'm doing smaller time frame levels, I'm using the daily to abuse pretty much anything under the daily, 4 hour all the way to the 1 minute, right? Whereas on the monthly, this is what I like to use to abuse the daily, right? And there's not going to be as much we can grab on these charts right now because of course it's a very obvious trend, but it's just very helpful because I love to look at the daily for my swing trading. I like to look at this and be like, oh, there's a soldier candle making a new high into a gap, good probability for upside. Now, I wouldn't have said it's going up this high, and I don't know if I would have bet because of the presidential election, but just example's sake, it's good positioning, good candlestick popped up, and it made a new recent high. It's getting into the gap. It's just a good position stock or a good position move. Same thing happened here. A lot of people in my chat were bullish before a lot of these days happened. Why was that? It's because we made an inside bar. Everybody in my chat is addicted to this candle, right? And then what did we do the next day? Probably the other most bullish candle there is. The bullish engulfing right around that inside bar. So very impressive. And then we got a hammer into a gap up, right? These are so bullish. The only thing this hasn't done is make a new high. It's done everything else. So very, very cool. But it's just nice to have like a system to things like we do with our smaller time frame stuff. It's the exact same thing. It's just more expanded on because it's different. We're not looking to scalp, the daily time frame. That's just like unheard of. Make sure you guys are live on the stream. Albert, you as well. You might be, I think you're lagging behind in the stream. I think you can click live at the bottom. I'm not sure. You're like randomly typing things, but I think you're answering me from like minutes ago. or going over things from minutes ago, which is fine. I just wanted to make sure you knew. But let's go to the monthly time frame and actually start everything now. So I'm going to start from the shoulder over here. We really don't need to because we're, you know, so far above that, but I just like to because it's really not that hard to just do it. Just get some levels on your screen. Plus, it's good practice. And we don't have to mark this month's because it doesn't matter. And let's extend this one. And that's it. And then I like to go to the weekly and just kind of scan, kind of the same thing we did with our backwards fib on the weekly. I'm really just looking at, if there's two things I'm looking at, it's the dips and the eaves, right? So here's your eaves. They go up, they make this little rooftop, and then my dips, right? And their dips are not always going to be perfectly in line with support and resistance all the time, and this is why I love to do this on the weekly. Because if you grab your same method as our 5-minute method, same exact method for our supply and demand. You know, sometimes you get that supply, sometimes you get this demand, and then sometimes you'll see those liquidity grabs. You know, they go right under it, and they retake it, and then they make a higher low of that, and then this is the move you want to be on. While other people are trying to buy this, then they don't hold long enough, they end up cutting, and then they get pissed that they don't have liquidity to even be part of this move. It's like, yeah, dummy, because you were trying to go short too quick. You should have been patient. We just fell from here to here, and you wanted to keep going short. Why don't you wait till you see if there's an actual retest that goes into place, right? And that's really the thinking behind it, is just trying to find better setups. You know, I just don't want to get caught as much bullshit as everybody else. Oh, my bad, NorCal. You were on point then. My bad. I thought you were trying to answer something else. You're right on it. Now you keep typing then. I'll shut the hell up. Weekly time frame though. Sorry, I keep going on tangents. I'm looking for supply and demand. So, like in this instance, you have this big ass one, but we're not gonna draw that, are we? Because it's just crazy. I really don't see anything to draw here. We have this old one here, so I can go from the open of that candle to the high here. And just for example's sake, I don't want to do all that. No, we're going to throw that there. So we get that. And that's really the only short-term zone I see for SPY to really take advantage of. That they already have. So the only thing I'm probably going to add are like smaller time frame zones, like the daily. And you can see here, if you go from the high to the open of the last green candle before the breakdown, this is where a supply should be, right? Look how that ended up lining up. I didn't even notice that, honestly. I'm sure we noticed it in the streams last week, but recharting this stuff, I really wasn't even looking at that shoulder. I was honestly just so infatuated by that inside bar breakout. But now looking at it again, it's very powerful, seeing that it's also holding a old supply as support, possibly turning it into a support. What I just said, a bullish support. So very cool. And if you guys also, one more note, if you want to actually add the levels to the zones, you can. You probably don't see me do that too much because sometimes I have other levels there and I don't want to, freak people out and have too many lines on my screen. But if you are one of those people that have to see the exact level, have at it. The all-time high supply is about right here. I didn't even notice that either. We actually perfectly hit it. So that's interesting. So if you think about it, honestly, this is a calculated move. Inside bar, bullish breakout. Nice wicking. I love the wicking. Because again, what did we just talk about, guys? It's the same conversation as a liquidity grab. If they make that low, then take that high again. This makes fuel for this, right? But what happens on those times that it doesn't make that new low? Kind of like this one. What happens? A lot of the time we get inside bars, outside bars, whatever happens. But without these wicks, we would not have fuel to even be where we are right now, right? If these days didn't have wicks like that, I don't know if this price could have made it up that quick. Without some, existential news or anything. Pretty cool, though. And then just like we did on the other chart, before we move on to QQQ, just so you can get some future targets as well, because I hate making a new all-time high and then it just being like space up here. And most people's charts have that. Most people don't chart above the all-time high, and they just tell themselves they're not going to do anything. Okay, that's weird. So you're just not going to trade new all-time highs? Do you realize how much of a percentage of the market that is? How many new all-time highs we made? How many times they just kept going? How many times you're going to miss out on so much opportunity? So shouldn't you come up with the system that you can consistently find the same piece of information over and over again with? So you can try to trade off of it, or trade towards it, or trade from it? That's my thinking, at least. So let's do that. Let's get some levels up here. Dude, what is up with thinkers? Oh, I didn't click it. So we're going to go from the low, the high, And you could leave the fib if you want. Sometimes I just like to grab the level so I don't have it messing with me. Yo, what's up, Dividend Bull? Good to see you, man. Hope your Thanksgiving is going great with your dad today, man. That's right. I read BB. I read the chat. And then... Oh, one more. I want to see if this one's hitting. Sorry, I keep reading chat and then I get off topic. Yeah, we do have one more. Remove that. And now we're done. So this is what your daily time frame should look like on SPY. If you're using my system. Again, not everybody should look like this. Y'all know what I mean. Yeah, so going into next week on the bigger time frames, we'll be looking to see how the daily time frame closes against this area here. If we're breaking into it, then it brings to question, are the bulls done? Are the bulls trying to push higher? Are they going to try to push over the new all-time high? If we end up having early weakness against this, I feel like this raises probabilities that we are slowing down, that we might actually be pulling back. We have 1, 2 gaps here, which this one's pretty much filled, but it's just kind of funny that we just gapped over the gap again. So very interesting, but actually we might have filled both of those. Yeah, we did. Intraday charts filled those. So it looks really gappy, but it's really not. With the amount of wicking and fuel here, it really could just send up. But again, it's going to help out because towards the end of Monday, we'll be able to tell ourselves what's possibly going on here. Or not. Maybe we need more info. Who knows? I don't want to just lock us down to one situation. But moving on to QQQ now. Hopefully everybody's fine on that information. I'm going to keep going. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask as I'm going along. Or if you just have any comments to make, there's a ton of well-informed BB traders in here who have just as much insight as I do a lot of the time. So I'm always open to read out anybody's tips or helpful info that is, of course, regarding what we're looking at. And you can see here I can go a lot faster now because we've already done this once, so it just feels a little bit more natural. Oh, my bad. I just completely skipped the weekly. Let's do our fib levels first because I just tired of doing those last. And I really like them. They're very reliable. Our friend Leland came up with this method, and I honestly like it a lot, and it is very effective. A lot of the times we've made those new highs. Here, I can show you on Bitcoin. I did the exact same thing on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin hit both. So it's actually on, if you go to the smaller time frame, sorry, the weekly is probably very confusing. You can see we actually held one, used it for continuation. So I'm not saying this would have put me in another trade. I'm not saying this would have made you, you know, grab more trades on cryptocurrency type stocks or even Bitcoin itself. But I'm just saying, like, it's cool to have that there, because what if you are bullish and you don't really know if this is bad or not, right? Because you know these are bearish candles. We all know that. But it's holding something, not just a percentage of this fat ass green candle, but it's holding a good forward target level. So, you know, if anything, it's not 50-50 anymore. It's a lot more bullish than it is bearish there. And not even just talk, and take that out of your mind too. When I'm going over this stuff, don't always look at this stuff as, well, what if I'm in a new trade? You know, you got to understand a new trade is in a completely different situation than someone who's invested, or someone who's been sitting in this for a day or two, or someone who's been sitting in this for a week or two, or someone who's been in this for years. You know, everyone's on a different page. So when you see somebody point out something on something, just understand that they might be talking from a bias that's very short term, very near term, very long term, and it might throw off your bias. So don't let opinions mess up your opinion. Is what I'm trying to say. Don't let other people, you know, mess up what you think. Back to the weekly. I want to grab one more forward target. It's funny how those are lining up on all the charts. Let's mark the all-time high supply, which is the top open of the last green candle. And just because, you know, just looking, like I said, focus on your dips and your eves, focus on your basic high trend, high low trend. You can see over to the left, just instantly looking, we do have one. So if you go from the open of that green candle to the high, and we extend that over, that's what we get. So this is what we're left with. And again, like I said, if you want to add the exact levels, you can. I just like to add the visual. because again, I'm really only going to check this on the daily, so I don't need the exact level. But you can see we have a little bit of bullish support here sitting, and it kind of looks like SPY a little bit. We were just looking at SPY, except SPY's made it to the, you know, where it could be mentioned as a potential lower high if it rejects here. Whereas QQQ, I don't even know if we could say that. If it rejected here, I couldn't even really call it. It would be a lower high, but it wouldn't be as, you know, sustainable as if it was more positioned like up here a little bit, right? So we might even be able to say QQQ is got room above it more than SPY does under its all-time high. So that's very interesting. And see something like that, super basic, but it gives us context. If you can find reasonable context, it's effective. It'll help you make better decisions. You'll feel more confident about things you're looking at, about yourself even. So I hope that helps. And we could add zones here all day long, but we're just going to focus on a round price. So let's go to the triple. Let's go to the IWM chart. Hold up, let me let my dog out the door. All right. Yeah, perspective, because again, and I only say that because like I know that fucks with me pretty heavily when I see someone that I like. Let's say like Leland, let's say Leland or Sinful, someone that I actually give a shit about says something that's against an opinion I have. I have to understand that they might mean something different to me. They might be looking at it on the 1 minute. One of them might be looking at it on the monthly. You know, so it's like. You just got to remember, people have different perspectives, and that you got to remind yourself you might not be on the exact same page when someone's saying something like that. So don't let it affect you. Stick to your guns and stick to what you were looking at. If someone wants to post something to show you something else, that's cool too. Let that be more context for you to use, but don't ever let it affect your decisions. You should never let that. And same thing goes for the opposite. If you're someone who's posting a trade, you know, maybe you just want to exert some confidence. That's cool too. But when you post a trade, understand if someone is looking at your trade, right, and following you, and you, let's say you fuck up or you make a mistake, and they followed you, that's on them. That's not on you, right? That's completely on them. Why would they follow you on a trade that you're probably more understanding of than they are, right? You're the one who looked at it, got context, you know, grew some confidence, created a plan beforehand, and whatever you did in your methods or routine. You know, so it's like, you just got to be very to yourself, but be understanding of others as well when you see that kind of stuff, just so it doesn't affect you. You want to be a rock in a river. You really do. You want to just let all that shit just brush over you, brush to the side of you. You don't really let it affect you. You know, it has a push against you, a pull against you sometimes, but don't ever let it affect you like that. Andrew. Hey, been a minute since I've been here for charting. How's everyone? What's up, username? Been a minute. We were just here Friday or Thursday, whatever day that was. You were just here one of those days. But last chart, guys, for IWM for the bigger time frame charting, and then maybe we could save some extra stuff at the end. But I really wanted to get through this so we could at least have this for replayability. If you guys want to do some bigger time frame charting, there's also the Discord. For the post charts channel, anybody can post in there for the most part, so it's pretty widely available for anybody. We're very inclusive. But I'm gonna go to the monthly now. We'll get IWM going. And just for a recap, we pretty much have just gone over the smaller time frame charts for SPY, QQQ, and IWM. And then we went through all three again. And now we're doing the larger time frame. I even started my chart over again so we could get a good view together. Started over from square one, have the exact same areas. If I add anything in the future, you'll have it as well. If you see me delete something or maintenance anything over the next couple days this week or into the next week, you'll see that. It'll be in the chat. And now we're doing IWM, larger time frame. We're on the last one. Yo, what's up, Alst? Good to see you, man. If you start from the beginning, I totally understand. If you chill here with us, also cool. But definitely recommend everybody starting this from the beginning, just because I did try to do this in an orderly fashion, which I know I'm not normally the most organized person. Let's edit this as the all-time high. Let's make that dotted. And that's it for the monthly. I guess I could add that. Weekly, let's get our backwards fib going. Yeah, I'm gonna do it over here. Oh, I keep clicking it and I forgot it's bugged right now. But what's up, Alst? How you doing? It's weird. What I was thinking about you the other day. I'm not trying to be weird. I was thinking about one of your posts in the chat the other day. I can't remember what it was, though. You were in my thoughts, though. Bet. Appreciate that. Just glad to have you here, man. Good to see you. Hope your weekend's going well. Let me see one more thing. I want to see if this actually hit, and if it didn't, then we'll keep it. But I think we are, yeah, we already looked at that on the other chart. That already happened. Okay. So we'll go to the daily now, max daily. And what I want to get is the all-time high supply. So we're going to go from the high of the move to the open of the last green candle. And again, I'm not throwing shade on any people online. I don't really know all of them personally. But I'm not joking. I really do. Put it to the test. If you go online and you try to find a supply and demand system, almost all of them don't have consistent rules. What I mean by that is like mine. I say go from the high to the open of the last green candle, or low to the top of the last red candle every time that's a demand or a supply. Every single time, no matter what. Unless it's like a notable level that you would have, like an open or a emerging candle. That's fine too. I don't mind when people throw them like that up either. But most people, when they draw like supply, demand, or zones is what they're popularly called online, is they just grab common resistance, common support. So if they're like, guys, there's like 8 touches here, grab that support, right? What happens in a week or two when I delete that chart? Am I gonna have that same opinion that that's a support? No, probably not, right? So that's not really consistent. I like fib extensions. Fuck yeah, I like fib extensions. If you go back to the beginning of the stream, NorCal Albert. Should I call you Albert or NorCal? I'm just gonna call you Albert. What was I saying? If you've been watching this stream, a lot of the time you'll see me use them as forward targets, like for all-time highs or for, you know, just anything really. Anytime we have a gap down, a notable gap down or gap up, like right here. We'll look at this one. So you see how we gap down right here? Like, no shit, we gap down. It's pretty obvious. Let me grab this. So if you go from the previous day close, because this is where we closed that day, and then the next day we opened right here, right? So this is actually the size of the gap down. A lot of us like to look for those in-between rejections of those fibs. So sometimes we don't always perfectly come up to the level or the gap again. Sometimes we go to the in-between level, the 50%, as you're aware. But also, what else are these fibs good for? It's kind of cool. It lines up with the level right there. But let's say we were short, right, and we were bearish going into the next day. Maybe we didn't have a chance to swing, and we didn't have a good forward target. You know, bam, you got one right there, 221.65. Now, as we talked earlier, should we be expecting a $3.50 move? No, probably not. So we would have had other levels from our smaller time frame on here as well, just to be a little bit more sure of ourselves. But it's also cool for just targets. I mainly use them for targets. You know, past something, oh, we did this, okay, well, let's see if we can make it to this or this. You know, it just kind of tells me the extremity of that sell-off, or maybe it's a rally, you know, in some instances. But yeah, fib extensions are very, very powerful. Yeah, shout out to Leland, he taught me all that for fib extensions. I really didn't find them like useful or effective. I think when you first load these, you have that as a default setting, and I turned them off back in the day. And I've always used Fibonacci. But I've never used the extensions of them, right? And once he showed me what was a proper way to use them, you know, consistently, not just... Like I say, everything I do is consistent. If I delete my chart, I want to be able to get the exact same level again. And same thing for my system. You know, if I see a breakout, this is what it's categorized as. If I see a retest, there's 3 different types of retests that we categorize them as. You know, there's a rule for literally everything in this system. Ouch. The fortune cookie talking about the staircase to success. Oh, that's probably what it was, actually. Yeah, no, wait. That probably was it, Alst. Holy crap, you have insane memory, dude. Yeah, I actually think you're correct. Yeah, what's up, Don, dude? Good to see you, man. that's pretty much it for our charting for our bigger time frame on all three now. Got everything we needed. Of course, you could make the argument that there's not much information here, which I would agree. But if you just kind of understand that there's not really a real level like right here, but there kind of is. That's kind of what I'm looking at in between this area, but I just don't want to mark it because I don't want to, like I just said 5 seconds ago, I like to be consistent in my methods. I don't know if I would draw this every time that I chart this, right? Just because it's a cool short-term hold. I think a big part of me would rather get a fib tool, a fib retracement, and then go from like this high to where they slow down right here on this high, and then watch that. That would be more consistent to me. And then again to the same thing here, or I'm sorry, holy, can this chart quit messing with me? New high to the new high, and then you could watch that. So if you really want to be anal about it, if you really want to be tedious about it, that's what you could do, because that would be consistent over and over. But yeah, guys, let me know. We don't have to end the stream yet. We can still chart some more stuff, but I just wanted to let anybody know who's watching the replay of this that this is the majority of what I wanted to cover with you guys. Again, just for a recap, we went over SPY, QQQ, and IWM on bigger and smaller time frames, showing you the consistent way to chart them. Something you can do over and over and over again. And of course, this is not all of trading. This is just this is just prep work. This is just preparation to get you into the mindset, to get you into the, forward thinking that a lot of us like to do. So this is just part of it, but this is a really good way to get started. Yeah, so many ways to go about it with the fibs. But again, Albert, as long as you find consistent rules or consistent ways of doing it over and over, and you're doing it the same every time, that's all that really matters, for the most part. But as long as you're making sense of it, that's all I care about. Because that's really all this is just trying to find a smooth path ahead. It's not so easy. Because honestly, a lot of people who try to trade are smart. It's just they don't end up finding anything to work with, right? Too many people bounce around. Too many people are learning too much or not learning enough. Maybe they're in a system that doesn't have any rules in them, so they just don't really know what they're doing. Maybe they're in a system that... Maybe they are in a good system. That's great. Good for them. But there's a lot of people that don't have anything. And all this it really is just a good, smooth path. And you can work with this over time. And there's so many ways to I don't know. There's just so many cool, unique ways to trade these setups. You don't always have to be like everyone else. Like, some people like taking open range breakouts and scalping them in like 2 minutes. Some people like taking, waiting longer to enter, but holding their trades longer. Some people like that more, Some people don't like it at all. Some people only like swing trading. Some people only like day trading. Some people only like... So everybody's different, but you got to find your unique preferences and just stick with them. Try to find your groove and stick with it. Don't bounce around a bunch. And I would say, honestly, that's where a lot of the most consistent traders come from. At least from my chat. That's what I would say. Before we move on, Gorov, Jesus, dude. Do we have any questions or comments about anything we've done up to this point? Yo, what's up, Tobias? Good to see you. Again, just repeating it, do we have any questions or any comments before we move on? Because we just went over pretty much the majority of everything, but I just wanted to let the replay people know that, hey, you don't have to keep watching. We're probably going to get a little bit more boring here as I answer the chat more and I'm not charting as actively. I like to let people know. What's up, Dr. J? Good to see you, man. How's your weekend? Hope everyone's weekend's going well so far. You should check out ours, Albert, if you haven't already. We have a complete system with rules and everything. I even have a theory-based video that talks to people about like what the thinking behind everything. I have all kinds of cool stuff like that. All free. Totally, you can watch it all for free on my YouTube. You don't have to pay me a dime. That's the coolest thing about my community. You can learn every single thing that even some of the most experienced person in my chat knows without paying me a penny. And none of my videos should have ads. If they do, I'll go take them off, but they should not. But yeah. So no comments or questions on anything I just talked about for about an hour straight. Nobody has any of that. Because all of you seem to have a lot of those questions during the week when I'm trying not to answer them and I'm more focused on trading. This is the time to ask your questions that you think are stupid. This is the safe space. And Gorov, I don't really want to go over ARK, man. I don't really like to chart ARK. I don't really like to trade ARK. It's a shitty ETF by a really dumb lady. I don't really know what else to cover on this. I saw your post though. I need to read it though. Let me read your post. How about I do that? I don't really want to chart it, but I'll read yours. Also, ARK cleared about 54 minutes clean his volume. Yeah, she'll find a way to fuck it up. Hourly also looks pretty good for the upside. So this is nice. I like your chart. When you do the green and the red, that's like a trade, right? Like you're in a trade or you're just like proposing a trade. Like showing what your risk reward would be, right? That's just like a risk reward kind of thing. I'm just triple checking. I don't want to look at that and think you're like in a trade or not in a trade. I don't really care if you are or not. I'm just curious what that is. I do commend you on getting support and resistance on this chart though. I feel like too many people complain about it. It's like, bro, just chart it. And then you said, but with half week, I don't know how low volume is going to work on this. Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool to look at. I'll be honest with you, I don't trade it, and I'm not going to trade it. But I do like your charting on it, because there's a lot of charts that looks like. Like, I remember when coin was down a lot worse than it is now. A lot of people would, like, hate on it because it was really hard to chart. But it was like, bro, you just don't have a good charting technique. So I do commend you on being able to chart something that I do see a lot of people complain about being difficult. So that's kind of cool. Michael Anthony said, the Pfizer dip because Trump picked RFK. Pfizer made 106.42 dividend each quarter, which has FDA-approved news. Yeah, honestly, with RFK in there, it really could be crazy. And not just healthcare, but there's like the food industry as well. The food industry already took a pretty nice hit because of him. But I do like your reasoning, though. Pfizer is a nice one. We were already looking at J&J and UNH and ABBV in the chats over the past couple weeks. And we traded a couple of them here and there, not too heavily yet. But I do love looking at healthcare. Michael, so if you're around at my streams during the week, you'll probably see me mention these a lot because I love healthcare, and I agree with your points. Those are good points. It's hard to interact with experienced traders because they have lives, so it's always good to talk. Man, half of those guys that you think are experienced are full of shit, though. Like, you still shouldn't think I'm experienced. You should just see me as another YouTuber. Don't trust anybody, bro. Half those guys are full of shit. Most strategies are full of shit. Most strategies are taken, copy, pasted. Some of them remade, renamed. Don't trust anybody. Stick to things that you trust, you find confidence in. And just stick with it. Don't change. Don't change anything up. Find confidence, find your groove, stick with it. Whatever system that may be, whatever indicators you may look at, whatever system you may follow in the future, stick with it. Do not jump around. I don't care what system it is. Stop jumping around. And I'm not just talking to Albert. I'm talking to every single one of you in here. Do not be that person that hesitates or gets scared and then moves onto a new system. It's like, bro, you are literally your own problem. Don't do that too much. Find your groove. That's all I'm saying. Not just to Albert, to everybody in here. It's just some of the things you're saying are resonating very well. No problem with that. My interest peaked due to Tesla. I know. I see why you were looking at it, Gorov, but that's not the greatest reason to look at Arc. Like, maybe like 2 years ago, that was cool. But she has horribly positioned herself. You're telling me that's all Arc is up? Even though Tesla and Coin are going up that much? Like, that's pretty bad. That means she's horribly reallocated her positions. So that's the only reason I don't like looking at ARK. Maybe a couple years ago that was cool, but in my experience, it's better if you just go look at those individual names. Gorov, Coin, Tesla, Hood. You should watch those more in depth. But I'm not going to bash you from watching your setup. You should still see if that setup pans out. Get that rep. Whether it's a mental or not. So I'm not bashing your attempt. I'm just saying that's why you're not seeing me like love it so much, you know. I don't want you to think I hate it. I'm not trying to be a hater. I know a lot of you guys put energy into your charts, so I don't like to act like that when I know it's something you give a shit about. Because maybe you don't care about ARC itself, but I saw you did put some energy into that post, and I'm not trying to shit on you. That's just fucked up. But I do like your efforts, dude. But go chart those individually too, and try to honestly do what I do. Here, I'll show you mine. So ignore the names, but the tickers, right? Get a list, stick to it, and try to make a game out of it every day or every other day or every few days. You maintain them, you maintenance them, you go over them, you restructure what context was there. You know, what were you before? You were bullish. Why were you bullish? Okay, that's why you're bullish. Okay, now a couple days later, bam, where are we? You know, just kind of update it day to day until you just get a good routine of what you're looking at. Why I say start with a small list is because if you look at too much, you'll overwhelm yourself. You'll forget some of the setups. But as you start to do this more, you'll be like, wait, that looks like that. That looks like that. That looks like that. You're collecting templates. You're able to collect templates in your head almost. You know, it's really good muscle memory of what's a good looking setup, what's a bad looking setup, you know, before it happens. Because it's really easy to say that shit afterwards. But over time, you can slowly turn that into real time. But you're not going to be able to do it overnight. It's got to happen over many nights, and you got to get many reps. Like I said, muscle memory. It's like sports. You know, you don't get into basketball and you just become Kobe Bryant. Like, no. You got to work for it. You got to get that muscle memory. You got to train. You got to work. Also, guys, be sure to check out Tobias's channel. He has a bunch of really cool posts in there, but he also put a new post in there. It was either last night or this morning. I can't remember. I already read through half of it. I have to read the other half after this. But definitely check out the Tobias channel. He has some really cool posts in there. Let me spam through the ones you're looking at, Tobias. Probably have most of these charted. MP's looking good, actually. Kind of sucks it already did this move, but it's kind of like the market. It's like bouncing. It's just under a recent high. Amazon's a different story. They're at a recent higher low spot after all this pulling back. So honestly, going into this next week, I just really want to see, are they under 195s or not? Because they ended Friday with the inside bar. So I'm really interested on that. I think that was the case while we were watching Meta a couple days ago. Yeah, it's going to be the same case again. Like, in my head, I'm probably bullish on this, but it's an inside bar, so we're just going to play what happens. Square, I saw you mention that twice, my bad. We already went over this in stream last week, but I was just saying there's not really much for me to cover. You know, they've already kind of made their massive move up. Not just before earnings. I hate that people are like, oh, they're only up because of earnings. Like, no, they were building structure before earnings for like an entire quarter. You know, so I think this move is completely validated. They're allowed to make that kind of move after that much structure was built. But you can see they really aren't that far though. Yeah, they're really just on top of that base. They really haven't made it out of the waters yet. So very interesting. I know a lot of people love Square. I like Square too. I don't think I like them as much as PayPal, but I definitely love Square. And yeah, good. I know you were talking about its potentials already, Tobias. He was saying he liked it for the future. And then you said ASML. Okay, this one has some promise. What even is this? No description. Oh, it's a holding company. That's probably why. Hold up. ASML. Semiconductors. Nice. Yeah, NorCal, if you go through our channel, actually, I don't use them heavily, but you can see here on the top of my screen, I have the 9, the 21, the 55 just kind of marked off to where I see the numbers of them, the price of them. You'll really only see me use them end of day for like short-term confirmations because I have a really strong swing trading strategy that involves EMAs. It's a very long history lesson. But basically, I used to use candlestick patterns with just like positioning. So if like I do now, I still do that to this day. It's not like I don't do that anymore. But something else I added onto was to make it higher probability was some of those EMA confirmations. So sometimes I look for bullish patterns that cross above the 9. I target the 21. I get a good overnight swing. Sometimes it's over the 21 to the 55. Sometimes it's the opposite directions. It just depends. I do use them. I don't use them all the time. Vivek is another company. JCI. Bro, I'm sorry, but I read JCI and I thought James Coney Island. Damn, what is this? Is this the airplane thing? Oh, they do all kinds of things. Never mind. It's not the airplane thing. Honestly, right now, Gorov, man, this thing is bugging out still. Gorov, the thing I'd be focused on is the open range breakout fib. So if you go from this high to this high, we're just seeing the breakout. And then we're looking, where is it holding? I was going to say, it feels like it's touching a percentage of this. I just didn't quite know to what extent. But you can see we have actually touched the 50%. We're just kind of resting. So I'd look to see if we get a higher low for continuation. Any breaks of this, though, you have to understand that it's very high probability that it wants to work back down to where that open range breakout came from. So we have that high, open to the last green candle before the breakdown. So you could say it's most likely headed there. And you have a small supply right here. So, you got a couple good calculated areas to look at. He's on Doge with Elon. Bro, how does this guy still get, like, popularity? Do we just, like, forget the things he says and does and then just allow him back in the circle? That's crazy. Vivek is crazy. I think Bitcoin should do some... I'm reading a message, by the way. This is not me saying this. I think Bitcoin should do some type of correction in the market overbought and wouldn't be chasing away for a pullback unless a company like Pfizer already tests the lows to rebound. Wait, what? How did you loop that to Pfizer? Wouldn't be chasing and wait... Oh, you're saying because of its positioning, it has... Yeah. Okay. To be fair, we had a small hiccup in the market, so that might have been enough. But you're right, though. On this kind of week, it might be the perfect kind of timing. So if we don't get just straight up market movement, which is honestly what we should get because the market is holding pretty well and has slowed down a little bit to where it has fuel to move back up continuously to make those new highs. That is more possible than not right now for SPY, QQQ, IWM. But if this week is there for that perfect slowdown, then yeah, we have a good range to look at on all three charts. I'm very excited, but we should move up this week. If not, I'm expecting to see how those fib ranges hold. Let me went over, excuse me. I'm yawning all over the place now. This area here for SPY. This area here for QQQ. Kind of a little bit of these lows too. And then IWM you can see here. Pretty obvious. But I understand what Michael's saying though, because it would be nice to have better positioning. But no problem, Gorov. Thank you for all your posts and shit, dude. Thank you. You know I always appreciate the post. It's nice to see you guys getting reps. Well, I pretty much covered all the talking points I wanted to go over for this Sunday stream. Got to cover all 3 of the charts. I got to chill in here with you guys for about an hour and a half. It's a pretty good amount of time. And we got to slowly go through everything. I got to read out every little detail about the TA routine, the bigger time frame charting. Like anybody in here who doesn't know how to do anything, we went through it all. Well, except how to actually trade. We went through just the preparation, I would say. The preparation phase, let's call it that. Everything prep-wise, we went over it today. Does anybody have any questions about prepping? Anything about that? TA routine, charting, just in general? Of course, is a 100% different ball game compared to actually trading and getting into positions and stuff like that, but that's a completely different conversation. I just don't like to make things sound easy. I hate when people do that. They're like, oh, it's just charting. It's so easy. Like, that can be easy. Does anybody have any comments or questions about what we're talking about here in stream? Do you trade the open? I have before, but I don't really like to. I promote to not trade the open. I try to tell my people to wait 10 minutes at the very least, just to get some context. I'm a really big context guy. Like to understand what's going on. But again, you really just need to look into our system, Albert. I think once you go into it a little bit more, you'll understand where I'm coming from when I answer your questions like that. It's not a simple yes or no. We're not a simple trader. We're not simple traders in here. I don't have a simple strategy. There's a whole system behind it. You have the prep, what you just saw me do, right? Then you have the entry types. Then you have the theory behind everything, the order of operations, so you know how to do things in the correct order, right? Trading a support or resistance, a supply and demand, anybody could do that. Anybody could say it's crossing a level. But to have a system behind it saying what to do in the right order, that's something not anyone has. And I challenge you, if you really are going to be here for a while, Albert, I hope you go through some of those videos. They're a lot of my most popular videos. I have a playlist called Road to Consistency. This has a lot of those videos that I'm mentioning to you, so you can just go to one playlist if you want. You don't have to watch every video on my channel, because, dear God, there are so many. But, and I'm not just talking to Albert. Anybody in here who's new or hasn't relatively been here that long, I hope you take what I just said to heart and you go look at that stuff. I literally get no money for you watching a video, and I'm literally telling you not just to give me a penny. I'm literally telling you to just watch the content, understand it, get some confidence. And it's fun too, because you can come into the Discord for free. You can go into the trade floor and you can interact with people who know what the fuck they're talking about when it regards to what we're talking about here. We don't know everything, but we know our system. And there are rules behind every part of it. Hesitation being a killer, can I expand on that? Well, think about it for a second. If you took all this time, like right here, and this, what we just did together, right? And let's say I took 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. I don't care how long it takes to prep my charts, to get plans into place, to say, if it does this, I'm going to do this, being conditional. You shouldn't even be thinking about hesitating, right? And if you are hesitating, what does that tell you? That means you haven't gone over something, you don't understand something, or maybe something just slipped your mind. Maybe you didn't notice it, you didn't mark it, right? Hesitation can cause so much because, like with our system, it's not like you're looking at the chart for the first time and you're like, all right, let's find a trade. No, that's not how we do things here. Like, if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. We go over things beforehand. We look at them beforehand. We talk about what we're going to possibly do if this happens, if that happens. Being conditional, right? If this, then that. Not just doing things on the fly, right? So if you hesitate, all you're going to do is just really traffic jam all of those decisions up. You're going to end up not getting in when you thought it would, and then you're going to get in too late, and then you're going to be like, oh, why did I do that? And it's going to be so obvious after the fact. But what was the problem? It's because you hesitated. You don't actually trust what you went over. So if you don't actually go over this stuff in a way where you would act, that's why I say when you review, you got to be realistic, right? Not every time are you going to review are you going to be non-biased. Sometimes you're going to review a chart and be like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. No, you're being a perfectionist now. You would never have done that. You know, so hesitation can cause a lot of different issues. And there's a lot of ways to combat it too. Like I said, all that prep, like you just got to go through it more. You got to get your mental reps. Do you know the entry types? Do you know the retest types? There's only a few types. You know, there's only a few types of entry that we even use in here. And most of you should know them by now. And if you don't, then that's what's causing that hesitation. Hesitation is a result of something else, right? It's a side effect of something else, right? So if you're hesitating, it's coming from something else. It's stemming from something else. It's stemming from, oh, I didn't go over this enough, or oh, Bueller has a whole video on this. I didn't even look at it. Blah blah blah. I don't even know what a retest is. You know, stuff like that. We get people like that all the time in here. You know, and it's so easy to look over an obvious thing or forget about something. Like, you guys see me do it all the time in stream. I make mistakes too. Sometimes I don't even mark that previous day control point, and you guys have seen me, you know, miss out because of it sometimes. Or sometimes I mark it, and that's like my most prepared trade ever. You know, I feel great because I remembered, oh, hey, I always forget that level. Let me add it. You know, you're human. You're going to forget things. But hesitation stems from something else. So if you hesitate, figure out what's causing that. It's not just because you're scared. You're not just a bitch. You're not a pussy. Like, no, it's not any of that. It has nothing to do with that. You're hesitating because you haven't gone over the information in front of you enough, or you haven't gotten enough reps, or you don't understand something fully. And that's fine. That's not the end of the world. At least you can understand that. But understand when you hesitate, and honestly, every emotion's like that. Everything is like that. If you're angry, if you're this or you're that, it's stemming from something. It's not just some random act of violence coming out from your inner core and you're just randomly some unstable individual. Like, no, it's coming from something. Figure it out. You're not stupid. You know yourself better than anyone else in here. Yeah, you need to trust the setups. If you're having problem, if you said you're getting in too early, you're just too horny. I'm sorry to tell you, Dr. J, you're horny. Quit being so horny, dude. What I mean by that is you're like greedy before the trade's even started. If you're getting in too early, that tells me that you're just too excited. You're not hesitating. That has nothing to do with hesitation. You're too excited. And that's fine. You can get over that. You need to be more patient if that's your problem. And I know that's so easy to say. Way easier to say than done. 100%. But like, that just tells me you don't actually understand your setups enough. You know, what setups are you trying to, and don't actually answer me. These are rhetorical questions. But I'm just saying, like, ask these to yourself. You know, what entries do I actually like? Do I understand them? Let me rethink about them again. Let me chart them again and see if I really do understand it. You know, and test yourself. Be a hard ass on yourself. One of my sayings back in the day was like, you really got to be your own drill sergeant. You know, we're not like in the military where someone's looking over you and watching over your every step. Like, no, you have to be the one that does that in this instance. That's what being a trader is. You have to be your own drill sergeant. You don't get to just slack off. You don't get to get into setups too early. That's just something you don't get to do. And saying, oh, well, I'm hesitating. That's not a fucking good enough excuse. And I'm not saying you do this, but a lot of people in chat and around the trading communities will do this. They'll just give themselves an excuse. They'll be like, oh, well, it's because I'm hesitating. And then they make no steps towards fixing that. They make 0 steps in reversing that. They just keep saying, oh, I'm hesitant. I just get in too early. I just get out too early. Stop saying it. Do something about it. And I'm not getting on to you, but I'm getting on to everybody. Like, if you actually give a shit, get on to yourself. You don't get to be lazy. You don't get to give yourself this like simple excuse and then it's just all better. Or you get to ignore it. Like, no. Like right there, you just said, I used to do that. Now I'm overcorrecting. Now I'm too patient. Bro, you're overthinking. You're overthinking, Dr. J. You're overthinking so hard. You're making this so much more than it is. You just went from saying, I hesitate, and then you broke down that your biggest issue is getting in too early. That's already not making sense. Then you just said, I used to do that, now I overcorrected, now I'm too patient. That also doesn't make sense. Like, you're honestly just overthinking. Stop giving yourself these entitled excuses. That's honestly what that is. That's an entitled excuse. Not one thing in there did you say anything that I could actually bite off of. Rereading that, it actually doesn't make any sense. I'm not reading that out loud, Andrew. No problems here. And I wouldn't say this, Doctor, if I didn't give a shit. Like, honestly, if I was just like some other content creator, I'd be like, oh yeah, bro, you're doing great, man. Just work on hesitating and blah, 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 blah. Give you some bullshit advice that anybody could fucking give. But no, I'm serious. Like, stop overthinking. You're overthinking. It has nothing to do with hesitate. I don't think you are too patient. I don't think you are hesitant. I don't think you're any of those things. I think you're just overthinking. You're trying to make too much of it. I don't think it has anything to do with what you typed. But yeah, let's work on that. Wag said you're not trusting yourself enough, you're edge enough, but my two. No, and yeah, and this is a free, safe space. You know, we're not here to bully Dr. J or anybody else who's like Dr. J. We love Dr. J. I love Jay. If I didn't love Jay, I wouldn't be sitting here criticizing him. Stop overthinking. Just stop thinking. Honestly, just stop thinking. If it doesn't pop up on your chart and it isn't a confirmation, it's fucking nothing, right? Do you know your candlesticks enough? Do you know to look at high and low trend, higher lows, lower highs, understanding that when you do have that higher low and you have a pattern there, that's way more powerful than it just being nothing, right? Than it just being a couple candles there. But you get a candlestick pattern there that you're aware of, bam, we're suddenly more confident. Why is that? Because we understand what that pattern is. We understand the positioning with that pattern gives us something, right? And if we don't have that, what do we have on the chart? Nothing. So honestly, my advice to you is to stop thinking. Stop thinking. If it isn't something that was set, you don't get to touch it. It's off limits. You don't get to do it. Michael, we're talking about... You know what? I'm not even going to get on to Michael. Michael's trying to be nice. Michael's on another page. We're talking about like quick trading, scalps, day trading, stuff like that. What you're talking about is like fundamental long-term average dipping, which that's fine, but that's not what we're talking about. What's good, fam? Super late. Yeah, you're actually at the very end of the stream. Like I was about to end it. I'm just kind of conversating with a lot of really cool people. We got Michael here. We got Andrew here. We got Jay. We got Wag. We got Gold Creation. Got a bunch of cool names in here just typing. We're pretty much done with everything we talked about. I'm just kind of sitting here chilling now, seeing what everyone's up to. Going back and forth. I did all the thinking beforehand, so I need to trust. Exactly. That's my point, Dr. J. You fucking hit it right on the head, dude. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Right what you just said. Right there. That was fucking perfect. You already did the heavy lifting. You already did the hard work. Why are you stopping yourself at the gate? That's how I see it too. Like, you've already done the hard shit. You've already done the hardest steps. Starting. Right? You want to know what the actual hardest thing in trading is? It's not getting started. Anybody with a finger can do that. Notice I didn't say fingers. A finger could do that. Anybody with half a brain could do this. Could open up an account, could start trading, right? That's something anyone can do. Do you want to know the actual hardest thing in trading? It's not finding a strategy. It's not it's not making trades. It's not, it's nothing. It's nothing like that. It's nothing you would think. What do you guys think the actual hardest thing to do in trading is? And you guys, if you've been around me a long time, you've heard me say this a billion times. Does anybody know? I wanted to see if anybody knew first. The hardest thing in trading is not getting started. It's not finding a strategy that works. It's not any of that stuff. It's not your emotions. It's none of that stuff. It's maintaining, right? What do I mean by that? Do you know how hard it is once you find a strategy to stick to it, trust it enough to, I mean, almost treat it like a religion. Seriously, like almost treat your strategy like a religion. Like die for it, bleed for it, cry for it, live for it, wake up for it. You know, that's the hardest part, is getting to that point where you trust it enough, where you stick with it, where you do find things you can work on, you know, and I say that from personal experience, because I was one of those people in the beginning of my days where I would bounce around a lot, and I found it very hard to grab onto anything, to have grip, right? The hardest thing to do is keeping that grip. I swear, it's not getting started, it's not finding a good trade, it's none of that stuff. Maintaining is the hardest thing. You know, being able to tell yourself, I'm going to go through this routine week in, week out, month in, month out, that is the hardest part. Being able to stick to it. By far, that is the hardest part. Do I trade gold? I had in the past, but I do not. I do not. Unless you have like a gold chain that has options on it, I'll trade it, sure. Create and Destroy LLC. What a dope name. Gorov, I got you. I'll answer it here. Let me see what you asked, though. Why did you ask it in the Discord? Oh, because you were connecting it to something I posted. I have a question about this trade. I want to know your thesis behind the whole trade. Could you go over it on stream if possible? IB breakdown to the downside. Well, I don't have a breakdown yet. Were you in the stream when I got in this or no? I'm assuming that's what you're... No, because you're asking. In the stream, though, and we went over this a couple times in past trades, too. But not all the trades I go over are going to be like 100% sound. Like that one on shop. Here, we'll go over it. I just like that it's at a good spot, right? But what essentially is this candle telling me, Gorov? You tell me before I tell you. What is this candle telling me? Yeah, we all know it's an inside bar. Any guppy could see that. But what is it telling you? Well, gold creation, I would actually include your answer in with that maintenance thing, because that's part of consistency. It's like consistent in your methods. So I could say you were partially correct on typing that. Good to see you, by the way, gold creation. I actually mentioned you and like 2 other people the other day, and I was like, man, I miss these guys. I know y'all are all busy though, or you know, life. But Gorov, you tell me, what is this? What is this telling me? I'm still waiting for an answer. By the way, I hope y'all's weather wherever you guys are is great. 'Cause my weather, the weather around here is great right now. Wherever you are in the world, I hope it's great outside, because it feels amazing. All right, Gorov, you're not going to answer me. Fine. I'll just tell you straight up. This is 50-50. Oh. Okay, no, that's not what I was looking for. No. So, what is this inside bar? It's 50-50. I don't have a breakdown or a breakup. I just like that it's a good positioned inside bar, possibly rejecting the gap. It's a very risky swing. This isn't like a safe swing, if that's what you want to hear from my voice. That's not what I'm... This isn't like a swing I would tell you to go for. And that's why we only got like a few contracts. We didn't really go deep on that one. I don't want you to think like this is like a good one to review. Like this is honestly just an idea we had. We just like it. Not much more behind it. But yeah, IB. At first I thought you meant my SPY trade from Friday. I was like, how the hell did he know about that? Or not from Friday, from Thursday. Yeah. No, you're good, Gorov. I was confused for a second, but you're good. You're allowed to ask questions about things I post. It's a free country, at least that's what they tell us. If it's so free, why do we get taxed so damn much? Always good to see you, brother. Super late as well. Waiting for you to end so I can rewatch. Oh, I appreciate that. I already kind of cut off the point for like where this was going to get boring at like an hour and a half in. So I would say the majority of like the first hour and hour 20 minutes was actually filled with me talking and charting. But now we just kind of been going back and forth because I know some people have questions they don't always get to ask me during the chat because I know sometimes I'm probably pressed to answer them because I'm trying to trade or trying to look at stuff or trying to focus. But I do try my best to talk to everybody and read out every comment I possibly can. A lot of you are pretty cool. Some of you are a little weird. Some of you are kind of funny. But a lot of you are pretty cool. And it's okay to be weird. Michael, what'd you say? What ETF for retail always put up? I don't know. I don't know what he meant. I don't know what he meant by that. Happy Thanksgiving. You too, Wag. And everybody in here, happy Thanksgiving. Even though it's not Thanksgiving yet. It's close. I'm out. Always love hearing from the master. Hey, you're the master, man. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Do we have any other pressing questions from anyone? Or any comments? You know, I always love when you guys add your 2 cents like Wag before we end this. Doctor. Thank you, Wag. Thank you. Appreciate you, dude. See, I love people like that, man. You know how many people come into my streams and just, like, want to be a piece of shit to get a reaction out of me? It's crazy. But then you got people like Wag who come in here and just want to add 2 cents, make the stream better, want to help other people out. Like, that's awesome. Because, like, there's no reason for us to not help each other out if we're trading the same system or similar systems. It doesn't have to be the exact same system, but a lot of us here like to look at the exact same stuff. We might trade different parts of it. You know, some of us might be more into retest. Some of us, like, might scalping, you know, differently. Just be in, quick and out, in and out. Maybe that's their preference. But everyone gets to use their different, you know, preferences, and it's really cool. It doesn't lock you into one style of trading. It's very open. I was asking about gold because I saw a head and shoulders pattern, but it hasn't finished forming. Oh, I'm no help with that. Nope. All right, well, we might end it there, guys. I do appreciate everybody's questions, comments, everything. I do, honestly, if I gave any advice about just growing with this community, one thing I would say is join the Discord for one. Be in there. You don't have to pay a dime. Please do not pay a dime if it's your first time joining my chat. Jesus Christ. Shouldn't even have to say that many times. Join, interact, engage, ask questions, comment. You know, it's really easy. You go in there and you really learn from a bunch of really cool people. Like, my members are a completely different level than most people you're probably used to talking to. So, and I really do. I stand behind that. I stand behind that full send. Because everybody in my chat is honestly got a good head on their shoulders, trying to have a good attitude about everything, even though it can be hard to do so sometimes. I think all of us can relate to that. And yeah, just it's really nice working together to really just building our own higher lows, if you think about it. But yeah, thank you guys again. Shout out to literally every single one of you. Eagle Eye. From Eagle Eye all the way to Username, all the way to Andrew and Wag. Seriously, every single one of you, thank you for being here, dropping likes. It really does mean a lot to me. But also, thank you for just being here because it shows me that you give a shit. You know, if you show up Monday and you're asking me what's TA routine or what's an emerging candle, you know, I think we all know that that's going to trigger me. So it's really nice to have all of you in here and actually giving a shit. You know, it's nice. It shows that you guys have passion for this, want to grow. And let's just keep working at it, you know. Let's keep working together. And I have nothing but great things to say about a lot of you in here. Oh, my bad. Which ticker? Real quick, create and destroy. Do you want me to look at gold futures or what am I looking at? There's like 1,000 gold charts. Like, actually. Bro, this chart, they really are doing maintenance on this shit today. Oh my god. They were not kidding about that. Hold up. I gotta switch off and then... That's crazy. I still can't zoom in. You too, Doctor. I expect the same from you to me, honestly. It goes both ways. If you ever see me do something stupid and I didn't say I was trying to do something stupid, let me know. Hey, stupid. Don't do that. Yo, what's up, Crate and Destroy? I'm trying to end the stream. What's the ticker? I love when you guys do that. You ask me something and then I have to like wait 10 minutes for it to pop up on YouTube because YouTube's just so slow. Okay, bro, YouTube's not this slow. You could have typed like 8 tickers by now. Did bro really just ask me all those questions and not give me a ticker? Am I looking at gold futures? Am I looking at a gold stock? Am I looking at a gold mining company? What am I looking at? Right? Am I being trolled right now? Oh my god, and then he gives me the pair. Alright, we're just going to look at gold futures because you can't comprehend what I'm asking you. I still can't fucking zoom in. What is this? No! I gotta be like Trading View now. What are my views on gold? It's not connected to the dollar anymore. But we're only buying it because China has a shit ton of it. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty bullish on it. Pretty bullish on gold. I don't see why. I don't think Trump's policies are going to do anything to mess with gold. The only thing you got to worry about is what China does. Alright, well, I'm ending stream. I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for being here and just being with me here. And I'll see you guys either in... If we do a stream tomorrow, I'll let you know. I'm not 100% sure or not. If not, though, just, again, go to the Discord. There'll be a lot of posts and level updates and good stuff in there. But I'll see you guys later. Hope you have a good weekend. Please have a good Thanksgiving, too. I hope some of you guys have family to hang out with or just people to talk to. And I hope the weather's great, too. The weather's kind of nice here, so I hope the weather's great for all of you. But, yeah, hope you have a good rest of your evening and rest of your Sunday and good start to the week. And I'll catch you guys in the Discord and stuff. And, yeah.